Welcome back to Open Your Eyes, and we're moving now into our second segment for the morning. Now, this one is a great conversation with the Ministry of Education and their team, and we'll be talking about an ongoing STEAM workshop. We'll find out what STEAM is in just a few, but nonetheless, in with us, we've got Shanine Campbell. She's an education officer out of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Science, and Technology. And also on Zoom, we've got Dr. Claudia Urea, who is a Senior Associate Director for Pac-12 there at Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Guys, good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Good morning, Shanine.
Good morning.
All right, so primarily, let's talk about what STEAM is, because primarily we need to know what's going on with this STEAM. What is STEAM, Shanine?
So STEAM is an approach. It's a way how we teach. It's an acronym, so it's science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And usually we're familiar with STEM. Most institutions or most educational centers, schools, they would therefore then try to do a STEM approach when they're teaching subject areas. However, we had added in the A to it, which is the art aspect of it. And this approach then incorporates this approach into different subject areas. So when you're teaching science and math and those, then you teach it with an inquiry base so that students get the hands-on aspect of understanding to solve problems.
All right, so let's elaborate more on this workshop that's ongoing.
And then I'll turn that to Claudia for you.
Okay, Claudia.
So, Dr. Claudia, let me ask another question. Let's talk about the basis for this partnership here. MIT is world-renowned as such a prestigious institution. How do you find partners in Belize to work with, and what's the objective here?
So, I will complement first the sort of importance of technology in the STEAM approach. We're really not. I think people understand, the importance of learning concepts in math and science, but technology plays an important role. It's not just about learning concepts related to technology, but really using technology as a tool. And I think Shanine will be able to play a little bit with the technology that we're using. In terms of our partnership, we've been collaborating with the ministry now for a couple of years and thinking about STEM and STEAM and what it means for the country and why it's important and how to bring these approaches to education to better prepare individuals with the skills to succeed in an increasingly complex and changing world. And I think we've seen it in the last year and a half with COVID. It really is about individuals, but also about the country and how to sustain our economy. So we feel privileged to be in this partnership and to bring our talent and our skills in collaboration with the ministry. So it is really important for us to not just come as a foreigners, but really have the partnership of the ministry and the schools.
Now, very often when STEAM workshops or robotic workshops take place, they're looking at working directly with children. But the different approach here is equipping teachers with the skills that are necessary. Can you expand on that?
So I think there are several goals for us to really be working with teachers. I think one is we want teachers to have the opportunity to learn as learners. So that's what has happened in these workshops that we have been conducting in the country. It's also our hope is to put the teachers in a very, very concrete STEM or STEAM experience for them to be able to reflect on why it's important, what are the sort of topics that it relates to in terms of skills, but also in terms of knowledge, in terms of relevant curriculum for the country. So without that concrete experience, it will be really hard for the teachers to be able to reflect on all of these important aspects of bringing that approach to learn to the school. So teachers are learners. They have done wonderful in these workshops, and their reflections in terms of their experience, but also in terms of what it takes to bring this to schools is the inputs that we're trying to gather as we work with them. in these activities.
So two things on that. One, let's just look at what we know about the importance of having younger children get introduced to coding within their education system. Let's start with that one.
I mean, as I mentioned before, technology for us in the sort of approach to STEAM is an important component. We have, worlds, completely inundated by technology. So we're moving forward with technology. We have different jobs disappearing because of automatization, new jobs emerging. For kids to be able to learn this technology and drive it is really important. One of the aspects of using that technology really is to create with it, to be able to express themselves with the technology, and one of the elements is really coding. So in order to create with technology, you need to gain certain skills. So computational skills and the coding is one of the elements of STEAM that we're bringing to the schools.
And what is it like, on that same note, introducing coding to teachers who have varying level of exposure to technology?
I mean, this is a pretty compressed activity. The main goal was to expose, to bring teachers to a concrete experience. The idea was not to graduate experts, but really to expose teachers to all of different elements of STEAM, to have them experience coding. For us is, I use the analysis of biking. We're not teaching them about the bike. We're not having them remember the bike parts. We're just put them in bikes and they've been biking. As biking, it takes time for you to become an expert, and there are different ways for you to be able to learn those skills. So same analogy we're using with coding. We really expose teachers to a technology that is really easy to use. Really quickly they were able to prototype and create small projects to really program something around ideas of that could become part of the curriculum that we bring to Belize. So it takes time, it takes practice, but really what we brought is this sentiment of it is available. You don't need to have particular skills. You don't need to be in engineering, but what we're bringing here is a technology that they could feel comfortable with using, but in the future also introducing to their students.
Well, I'm so glad that you provide some clarity there, Dr. Claudia, simply because people feel that they need a lot of stuff to try and get into technology.
Yeah.
But at the same time now, we've got Shanine in with us, and she's got her kids. Yes.
Yeah, whizzing
she's been doctoring up some stuff here. So Shanine, let's get into what you've got here, and how was the workshop going for you primarily?
Well, the workshop was teachers were quite excited. They all participated. From the pictures, you can see how much they played a role in it, understanding it and all that. So they used what we call it's an inventor kit. Yes, and so we name it the STEAM activity kit. And so it has several parts in it, several bits that very important when teachers are supposed to do their little activities. The main thing that we taught them is how to code. So I'm going to show you how we do some coding.
Okay.
If you notice from our pictures, teachers actually got so excited that they created some certain things that runs on wheels.
Sweet.
Yes, and then they had the fans running and all that because they have motors that are present in the kit. So you have several different parts, all types of wires and things like that.
I wouldn't even know what to do with this.
Well, you see, that comes with this part. This is a breadboard, and so and then you have a guide.
Kit.
So you can follow the guide. It's easy.
Yeah.
You can get a kit, you can follow the guide, and you can create your code and all that. But what we need to create this code, you need a computer with internet. Yes, a laptop and a phone can work. And if you're using a laptop and a phone, then you're going to use the Bluetooth aspect of that. In the event you're not using a laptop and a phone like I am here, you're going to use a computer. And so it requires internet access. So after I get my computer started, this here is called a microbit. And this is a mini computer. And this is quite important because this stores information.
Okay.
So whenever I plug it onto my computer using a normal USB, it comes in a kit, by the way.
Yeah.
So I plugged it onto my computer I connect it by plugging it in.
Yeah.
And then I connect it. And then it automatically registers into the computer, and you will see something like your USB plugs in. It's not a USB, but that same information pops up, the command for that, all right? I go to a website. You must go to a website if you want to make the code, and the website is called makecode.com. And so when you go to the website, that's what you see.
That's it right there.
Yes, that's what you see when you go to the website. And you see two blocks pops up. One is called on start and one is called forever. Great. Now, I can code on this by doing certain things. So what I would do, let me put this aside so you can see them. Hope they're seeing it. Great. Okay. Oh man, only if they can see this.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I go to my I go to the top because I'm about to start to code something.
Okay.
I go to basic. It's get a little easier when you go to basic. And you said, what do you want to code? Probably you want to code a heart. And several times you see these things running across screens, like open and close and all that. You wonder what's going on.
Yeah.
Actually, that is actually a microbit sending that information to that screen.
So that's good.
Nice.
Yes.
All right, so you want to turn it a little so we could just catch it there on the screen?
Yeah.
So folks could check out to see exactly what you're doing there. All right.
So I went to basic and I selected show icon. And when I selected my show icon, this pop up on my space that I'm working with. And I want to show icon on start. So I put it there. And so as you hear the clicking, so when it clicks in, it started to show right there. Now, this is what I'm seeing here on my simulator, but that's not what I'm seeing on my microbit. I need to download it to my microbit to ensure that I'm seeing just that here. And so the information is now sent here, and it's programming this. And then it starts a light to tell you, the yellow light tells you that the information has been loaded onto my mini computer. Yes. It's downloading, taking its time.
Okay.
Great. And see, it says connected to microbit just a while ago.
Okay.
And so now if you look at my microbit,
okay, there you go.
you see there goes the heart, right? And so we can do, what happened is that the code was created. And so the code is now sent over to the microbit.
Okay.
So that's how you create the code for that. And you have several different ones. You can remove this out of that block.
Okay.
To delete it, you take it over there. It can goes on forever if you want to choose forever. Or it can go on start. So let us see else what we can do.
Okay.
Let us show another icon. What do we want to show?
Okay.
Some X's. So I click that. It comes up on my block.
Yes.
I can put it in forever. I go back. Maybe if I see that pops up there.
Yes, on an X.
Great.
Yes.
Maybe you can do something else. What else do you really want to do?
You know what I love? I hear the sound of discovery in your voice.
Discovery and that please.
And it's one of the things that we're watching in fascination and completely drawn into. And I think, Dr. Claudia, this must be kind of the example that you have every time you start one of these trainings.
I mean, I think that I love that you use the word discovery because it's really how we introduce these technologies, and we want teachers to be able to discover, and we want them to experience this because we want them to be able to replicate that approach and have kids discover. The workshop that we designed, we call Making Connections to Real World Challenges. And you know, this is part of the technology. People get excited, but we want to make sure that they use it in the context of thinking about projects and learning. And we brought the Sustainable Development Goals because they connect to relevant education and relevant skills that our kids need to have to imagine better futures. So the teachers were using the technology like Janine was just demonstrating, but they were thinking about projects. You know, why do I have a sensor? Why do I bring a motor? Because I'm creating a project that is a solution to a challenge that I might have identified for my community. So these technologies are used in the context of creating these projects where kids are learning about data, they're learning about electronics, they're learning about math. So that's how all of these concepts connect, and technology again plays that important role.
All right. So Shanine, you've decided what you're going to make your microbit do?
Well, actually, I was coding something different again for you, so you can
Ooh.
see how you can have it play, then it pauses for a couple of seconds, then it comes back again. So when the messages are being sent on those screens outside, and all different types of messages, and it has a loop, that's what we create also. So what you're seeing here is that I coded with an X, then I allow it to pause for half a minute, and then I code it with a small little heart, and I pause it again, and then I put in another code with the larger heart. So you can see that happening over and over and over. Actually, it's on this one here.
Yeah.
And so,
All right, so on this one.
Yeah.
All right.
So it would catch it. And so what I did is I had to download it so I can store into my microbit, and then it then plays on the microbit,
Okay.
which is quite important for it to do.
Yeah.
All right.
And so that's what our teachers were able to do. They were able to do some coding and all that, all right?
Janine, would it be worth mentioning some of the projects that you saw at the workshops teachers working on? So you're demonstrating a little bit, but I think it would be great to hear some of the topics and projects that teachers addressed during the workshop, right?
Perfect.
Yeah, so what are those?
So yes, they did. So what we did in the workshop, we allowed teachers to understand the Sustainable Development Goals.
Yes.
And from the Sustainable Development Goals, we asked them to come up with an idea and create something that they can use to assist in solving or to reach out to the Sustainable Development Goals. Teachers, they were quite enthused. They got all in. They were in a bubble. So, because we have COVID protocols,
Of course.
so we kept teachers in bubbles. If you're from a specific school, you need to be with your school, far away from each other. Do not interact with other teachers and so forth. So they thought about what is best. And so we went to Dangrida, and we saw, because you see, culture is different in our country. And so when we're in Dangrida, our culture is something grand. And so the teachers from Ecumenical High School, I can clearly remember, they decided to create an incubator. And so when they created their incubator, they used the parts of their STEAM kit. And so they created bulbs, and they created a fan that rolls, and then when certain thing goes up, you see the wheel spinning, so it can go into the area where it belongs and so forth.
Nice.
So they incorporated that because that is something that they need in their institution. We went farther out, and we came to Belize City, where Gwenlis High School, they did something that has to do with composting.
Wow.
Yes.
Agriculture again.
Yes. Right. And so
Using technology.
Using technology.
Technology. And so they used the information that they got, and they created this composting converter where you can put in your organic material, and it moves from one stage to the other using the mortar that we have in the kit, and then it moves to another area where it cuts up bits and so forth, and then it brings out the compost in a usable form so that it can be placed in garden and so forth. And we have several others. I can remember SCA, they went in depth with technology, and they banked on this TLI, this system that the Ministry of Education has created the other day, so that we can facilitate teachers with their CPD training and how to get their hours and how to be online doing their training and registering and all that. And they actually went in a bit more deeper than just hands-on and created an app so that teachers then can get more out of the system and how they can follow up with it and so forth. So it's really technology at its best. And teachers are very, very creative when it comes to it.
But using technology to solve or to help with everyday problems. And that's amazing. I mean, imagine these teachers being able to use the system even within the schools to maybe improve on services that are being offered.
And that is true, because for some reason, people think that technology is just computers and cell phone and so forth. But it's bigger than that. It's deeper than that. And so when you can have a STEAM kit and you can create some miniature projects to assist your school functioning and running every day, and the children that goes there, that is just extraordinary.
It's amazing. And young people right now are so into technology.
That's right.
And thus, you're rolling this out to young people.
Perfect. To the point where we're going to young people, to the point that teachers were trained, but students are also been invited to get involved. So from every school that we visited, we had asked teachers to select a set of students. Then we would take out 2 of the students, and we would provide them with a kit. And they have to be creative. yes, we're going to have some online virtual activity for them to understand what the kid is about, what you do with it, but the creativity comes from them. So it's their idea to create whatever they want after we have explained to them what it's really about.
And what teachers did you invite? Was it only the IT teacher that came in?
I think that's a very good question. So usually you would think because STEAM is science and technology and engineering and math and arts, we would just go for those type of teachers.
Yes.
But it's not like that. We invited one science teacher from every school that we invited and also one math teacher. Those are the only two STEM subjects. We went further and we invited a Belizean study teachers from several schools. We invited English teachers. We sent for their PE teachers. Yes, we sent for teachers that are not teaching the STEAM subject because we want to incorporate it in everyday's
And that's the core of it. The core of it is that it isn't reserved for just science class or math class or computer class. If it's a book project, you know, what can you do? Or PE, especially logging those exercise
and whatnot. Clearly, the what's going on here is a direct impact to every aspect of life, and that's what we're seeing here. But with the workshop, is there a next step to it, or would that have concluded already?
No, we have more steps to it. So we have more teachers that are going to get on board that we're going to train and introduce this STEAM kit to. We have more students that we're going to get on board as well. So it's not the finishing point. This is just the beginning of the entire project.
Well,
I'm gonna mention a couple of things because I feel like it would be important for us to remember that it's not just the sort of STEM related or STEAM related concepts, but it is really, and you have been talking about it. I'm listening carefully, Janine, and really at all with what you have said and how you really have incorporated all of these things that we have been working together with, with the team from MIT and the ministry. But a reminder that it's really about the skills like creativity and inquiry based and critical analysis and teamwork and collaboration. I think the best projects we saw integrated teachers from different subject areas and teachers that even like the music teacher I think was really fascinated with some of the technology and went far creating a project, skills that have to do with communication, with digital literacy. And just mentioned that part of the motivation to really think about STEAM has to do with the skills that we need to be able to develop individuals, but also think about economic development and prosperity of countries, right? So participation of individuals in careers that are associated with STEM are critical for a country. And I think participation of women, there's an analysis that the Chamber of Commerce did that is really important for us as an input, right? In terms of thinking about female participation in these careers, in terms of skills development, like the ones I mentioned, and different, jobs that are very in sectors that are really important for the country, and how prepare are those individuals to work on those jobs, and what are the jobs that are coming. So I feel like it's not just the excitement about the projects, but really the future that is ahead of us when we think about introducing these ideas and preparing our kids for to create better futures.
Nice.
All right. Well, very interesting, and I'm sure that everybody who are taking part in this will definitely grasp, and will be moving forward as soon as possible with full steam. On these packages.
Full steam ahead.
Full steam ahead.
I love that. Yeah.
We're so grateful that you guys have joined us this morning, learning a lot on exactly what's going on and how it impacts lives in every aspect. So Dr. Claudia Urea and Shanine Campbell, we want to thank you guys so very much for joining us this morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
All right. We're about to take a break. When we come back, World Mental Health Day is celebrated on Sunday, October 10th. But we've got a conversation on that. What is the importance of mental health and what will be celebrated on that particular day? Stay with us. We'll be back.